FREENBECKY. When two people make each other braver. Bravery is often misunderstood. People imagine it as something dramatic. A fearless leap, a bold confession, a moment where someone stands alone against the world. But real bravery rarely announces itself that way. More often, it grows quietly, nurtured in private moments, shaped by trust, and strengthened by the presence of another person who makes fear feel less heavy. This is the kind of bravery people see in FREENBECKY. Not the kind that demands attention. Not the kind that needs applause. But the kind that appears when two people make each other feel safe enough to become more than they were before. Before the world started watching. Before the edits, the fan theories, the trending names and viral moments, FREENBECKY were simply two individuals navigating their own uncertainties. They carried their own doubts, their own pressures, their own expectations, from themselves and from the industry they worked in. Neither of them stepped into the spotlight fearless. No one truly does. What changed wasn't the world around them. It was the presence of someone who understood the weight they carried, without needing it explained. That kind of understanding is rare. And when it appears, it changes how a person stands. Emotional safety creates courage. Courage doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in safety. One of the most striking aspects of FREENBECKY's bond is the emotional calm surrounding it. Even in crowded rooms, even under bright lights, even when attention is intense, there is a grounding presence between them. Fans often describe it as comfort. But comfort doesn't mean stagnation. It means freedom. Freedom to speak. Freedom to pause. Freedom to exist without constantly defending yourself. In that space, bravery becomes natural. Being braver doesn't mean being louder. There is a misconception that bravery must be visible. But FREENBECKY show a different version, one that exists in choices rather than declarations. They are braver in how they hold boundaries, how they protect each other's privacy, how they resist pressure to define what doesn't need defining, how they allow growth without fear of distance. None of these choices attract applause. But all of them require strength. The courage to be gentle in a harsh industry. The entertainment industry rewards hardness. It rewards endurance without vulnerability. It rewards availability over boundaries. It rewards exposure over protection. And yet, FREENBECKY remain gentle. Gentleness in this context is not weakness. It is defiance. They move carefully with each other's emotions. They respond rather than react. They create space when needed instead of forcing closeness for optics. That gentleness takes courage, especially in a world that constantly demands more. How they make fear feel manageable. Fear doesn't disappear when someone becomes brave. It becomes manageable. What people notice about FREENBECKY is not the absence of fear. It's how fear seems to lose its control around them. In moments of uncertainty, they look toward each other instinctively. They ground each other through proximity. They communicate without words. Those moments tell a story far deeper than interviews ever could. They say, "We're okay. We're not alone." And that reassurance is powerful. Bravery through trust, not pressure. Many relationships create courage through challenge. Pushing, testing, demanding. FREENBECKY create courage through trust. Trust that silence won't break the bond. Trust that distance won't erase connection. Trust that growth won't mean loss. That trust allows each of them to step into unfamiliar territory knowing there is something steady behind them. And people are always braver when they know they have somewhere safe to return to. Why this resonates with so many people. People don't connect to FREENBECKY because they appear fearless. They connect because their bravery looks achievable. Looks like learning as you go. A needing reassurance sometimes. A growing without abandoning who you were. Letting someone support you without shame. For many fans, that reflection feels deeply personal. Feels like permission. Permission to be brave in quiet ways. Permission to rely on someone. Permission to grow without becoming unrecognizable. Courage that doesn't demand an audience. Perhaps the most powerful thing about FREENBECKY's bravery is that it doesn't need to be witnessed to exist. They are not brave for cameras. They are not brave for validation. They are brave for each other. And that is why the courage feels authentic. Because when bravery exists even when no one is watching, it's real. The subtle shift over time. If you watch closely, you can see it. Over time. Their confidence deepens. Their presence steadies. Their interactions feel more assured. Not because they eliminated fear, but because they learned they didn't have to face it alone. That kind of bravery compounds. Two people, one quiet strength. FREENBECKY is not about one person making the other stronger. It's about two people creating a shared strength. A strength built on patience, emotional safety, mutual respect, restraint, trust. And that shared strength allows both to become braver versions of themselves, without losing softness. Where this story truly lives. This story doesn't live in headlines. It doesn't live in rumors. It doesn't live in explanations. It lives in the pauses, the glances, the way they orient toward each other instinctively, the calm that follows when they're together. It lives in the way bravery shows up quietly, again and again, continuing seamlessly. The kind of courage that lingers. Some bravery impresses in the moment. This kind of bravery stays in memory, stays in feeling. It stays in the quiet moments when people reflect and think, that's what real strength looks like. FREENBECKY's courage doesn't fade when the spotlight moves, because it was never built for the spotlight in the first place.